Think we're live. Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms should be a convenience store, not a government agency. Hashtag ATF should be a convenience store down below if you agree. I'm going to silence the phone because it's been going cuckoo. So Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Merrick Garland, who's still sore that he's not a Supreme Court justice, just got done their presentation, and I took some notes. There were a couple things that I wasn't aware of, so I figured I'd bring you all the info, because some guys and gals are out there doing things and they're not allowed or don't have the ability to sit and watch the president mumble around. First off, is anybody else who might be a fan of Jeff Dunham think that Biden is Walter and Walter is Biden? If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google or DuckDuckGo Jeff Dunham Walter. It's a hand puppet. I mean, it's Joe Biden. All right, so let's go down the list. So first off, Bobo Biden got up. Actually, Kamala Harris got up and she was like, yay, Joe Biden's awesome. In 93, he did the Brady handgun bill. In 94, he did the assault weapon ban. And let's do it again. And I love him. And I really can't wait for him to fall down the stairs. Then Bobo got up and he said, and I took a couple quick notes because some of the stuff he said is just like hilarious. He said, nothing that they're suggesting today infringes on the Second Amendment. He also said that no amendment to the United States Constitution is absolute, and that even in the beginning of the country, you couldn't own whatever you wanted. And he then said that gun violence is an epidemic. Well, quick little history lesson, I guess soapbox time. Yes, in the beginning of the country, you could own whatever you wanted. And part of the Second Amendment is to have the same weaponry that the tyrannical government might have, so you could protect yourself and take back the country. So it just goes to show you where they're coming from. He also made a quick mention that he wants to stop all this gun violence and the proliferation of gun violence because he mentioned some of the shooting victims that were there. And he said that they all know that seconds can change your life forever. To which I respond, I actually said it to my TV. Some of you guys must, if you watch what was going on in this place, you think I was nuts. But yes, absolutely, seconds do matter, which is why you carry a gun instead of waiting for the police department, which is, at the very best, minutes away. You save yourself. Seconds do matter, Joe, which is why you should carry a gun. So he did say that he was going to talk about the things we mentioned yesterday in the couple live streams. Ghost gun kits, he was going to go after those. He wants them to be under the Gun Control Act, thus serialized and be subject to a next background check. And I'm sorry, guys and gals, I forgot to put the comment section up, so give me a minute and I'll jump to it when we're done through this part. He also wants ATF to start doing a firearms trafficking report, a new annual report. They haven't done one in quite a while. He also addressed pistols with stabilizing braces. He being Joe Biden, he says that it should be, it makes it to an SBR, so it should be subject to the $200 and the NFA. He also mentioned ERPO's red flag laws, how he wants a national red flag law, and he will be having the Department of Justice publish model legislation today so that each state that doesn't have it, and for those wondering, there are 19 states that have red flag laws, and the District of Columbia has it as well, but he wants the remaining to take that model legislation that they're going to publish today and utilize that to make their own red flag law. And I also have to do a video that Marco Rubio from Florida, Republican Marco Rubio, he already has submitted in the Senate a national red flag bill. So keep that in your mind. He also said that gun violence is huge and it's an epidemic, and he wants to refund community programs, and that is where that $5 billion that snuck into the infrastructure bill that's being talked about now. There's $5 billion of gun control money. Technically, it's for community activism programs, and that's what he was talking about there. Then he mentioned three bills that he wanted the Senate to pass immediately. H.R. 8, which we're aware of. H.R. 1446, which we're aware of. And one I've talked about here before a lot, which is the Violence Against Women Act. Now, the Violence Against Women Act, when you discuss this bill, a lot of times you get some flack because in the very beginning of this bill, it was a favorable bill for both parties, for bipartisanship, and it always passed every time it was up for renewal. With the change that this past year, the past time it was submitted, old Nancy Pelosi, her drunk self, put in a national red flag law in that bill. That's why it wasn't passed. That's why it never moved through the Senate last session. So take note. That's what he wants to pass. Blah, 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 blah. He also said that background checks have prevented hundreds of thousands of people from getting guns who shouldn't have guns. And again, I popped off immediate, like, knee-jerk reaction. Like, it didn't stop your son, who's a prohibited person. He just lied on it. So, waiting to see still if they're going to go after Hunter Biden. Probably not. Then he came out and went off the topic a little bit, and he said he wants to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines again. He said that nobody needs a 100-round magazine. Nobody. To which I again said to the TV that it's to fight back the tyrannical government, and you can own whatever you want. Yeah. But... And then he also said that he wanted to take back to live streams. That's why I don't do them sometimes. But he wanted to address the immunity that gun manufacturers have and to take that away. And then he got on the soapbox and said, if the good Lord himself came down before me and said I could have one of these, that's the one I would want, because they would all, meaning all the gun manufacturers, would have a coming to the Lord moment. So that kind of tells you what his thought process was. Then Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, again, still sore that he's not a U.S. Supreme Court Justice. He got up and right away started talking about the last time the ATF did a gun trafficking study, a criminal gun trafficking study, and it's been a long time, and he's ordering them to do a new one based on modern guns, 3D printing and 80% lowers and stuff like that. He also said he wants to close the regulatory loopholes on ghost guns, and that within 30 days there will be a proposed rule from the ATF to have certain items serialized in kits and to have background checks apply. And he specifically mentioned those buy, build, shoot kits that we all remember from a couple months ago from P80. I believe it was... I could be wrong. I think it was Polymer 80 that sold those. I'm not about 90%. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But if it wasn't Polymer 80, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to cast any dispersion. But he did say that was coming within 30 days. Now, to that I said to the TV, you can build whatever you want. It's totally legal as long as you retain ownership of it. And selling an unmarked, an unserialized gun is already a felony. So why... Feelings. He also said that within 60 days, the ATF will issue a proposed rule that will go after braced pistols. He said the braced pistols, when you attach certain, he did say certain stabilizing braces, would turn those into SBRs and thus make them put them underneath the NFA. And he specifically said those that are intended to be fired from the shoulder. Similar to everything we saw last November when we all tried to get everybody we know to make a comment. That's coming again, guys and gals, just so you know. So in 30 days from now, I'm going to be, and so will every other gun tuber and pro 2A and pro freedom person on all these platforms. They better be asking you to reach out to your legislators and to make a comment on these things. In 30 days when it comes to the ghost guns. In 60 days when it comes to braced pistols. Again, like we did in November. He also said that the Department of Justice would be, again, like Biden said, publish a model red flag legislation for the states to adopt. And that will be done, he said within 60 days. But Biden said it was going to be published today. So go with that. My guess is they'll just hit print because if you remember back when Donald Trump was in office and he had that big meeting with the school, I forget the name of the committee, but it was a school safety committee. They had published some national red flag model legislation at that time. They'll probably just dress it up a little, make it more Biden and hit print. Number 5, as far as Merrick Garland, he said that he wants to empower communities to fight gun violence, and they got all kinds of claps from the yahoos. They said that they're going to make $1 billion available. Again, I'm assuming it comes from that $5 billion that's in the infrastructure fiasco that's going on. And it would be over 1 dozen grant programs to reduce gun violence, and they would go to programs like street outreach programs, violence interruption programs, and hospital-based services. Violence interruption programs, like... all right, whatever. Then they made it official that Joe Biden nominated David Chipman, who is a former ATF agent. He then worked for a couple of anti-gun movements, including the mayors, the big city mayors against gun violence, or whatever the hell they call themselves. As well as currently, up until today, he was the senior policy advisor for the Giffords Group, Gabby Giffords Group. It's an anti-gun group, and he was just drilling policy for the anti-gunners for the last, I don't know when he joined that, 2016, I think it was. But I did put up, and I'll put it in the link of this video once I'm done. I have a link to his actual resume that he submitted for this job. So it's up. It's the link's already on my Facebook if you need it in the immediate, and it's already in my Instagram story. If you need it in the immediate, they're there. They're available. This is the same cat who used to work for the ATF during Waco. Okay, so red flag number 1, and he obviously has been working for the anti-gunners. Red flag number 2, and I did see yesterday in all my research that Biden's people were like, well, he's a gun owner. Well, no shit, he's a gun owner. Oh, sorry, live stream. Probably going to be deleted. But yeah, he's a gun owner because he's been in law enforcement. He's been an ATF agent forever. So, of course, he's a gun owner. But does he stand for gun rights? Does he stand for American rights? Apparently not. And then Biden shuffled off in his old Ensure way and bumped elbows with Gabby Giffords. And then I want to mention one more thing about Kamala Harris, because I know a lot of people love Kamala Harris because she's a female, and she claims that she's African-American heritage, and she was an attorney general in California. She was the attorney general in California. And she had a little heartfelt, I'm pulling on your heartstring second there, where she was saying that, as an AG, I have been on scenes of gun violence. And she does that little head bob. And how she thinks that, it's terrible and we should do something about gun violence. Well, camel toe, I will say that I've been on 1,000 times more gun violence scenes than you ever could have been, because AGs don't come around when the scene's hot. They come in after, when the press is there, to make a statement and scuffle off and then collect their paycheck. And I'll tell you, from all of the gun violence scenes I've been on in my 24 years in law enforcement, which is coming to an end finally, guys, but I will tell you that there isn't one of them where I said, you know what, people should not be able to defend themselves. I've always said, would it have been different if this person was able to defend themselves? Other than like gang violence, which is sometimes both of them had guns, but when you see victims of domestic violence or kids or random victims, they should always be able to defend themselves. You never look at a victim and say, we should make it harder for every other potential victim to defend themselves. Fool. But yeah, that gives you up to date with everything. And I figured I'd do it live because I did a little experiment yesterday, and the live streams are getting out, whereas things that I upload normally are in deep suppression. So I figured I'd put this out because this is information that we all need to know, because the world is hinging on it. Our world is. But none of these were executive orders. Joe found out very recently that he doesn't have the power to executive order any of this stuff. So they did it. It's called an executive action. It's just a strong suggestion from somebody who sits in the Oval Office that these things happen. But by lighting a fire under the ATF and actually giving them an anti-gun director, he's going to go at it that way with policy, because he knows he's not going to get any of this stuff passed through Congress because it's unconstitutional, Joe. So it is what it is. I'm going to open up this comment stream just so I can say hi to some of y'all and see if there's anything that popped out that you might say that I might have forget. And oops, we didn't sell out. We voted for politicians who sold us all out. Kamala. Yes, I agree. uh, yes, I agree. Let's see something about Chipman here. It says Chipman also did a Reddit AMA. You can see his anti-gun bias and defense of Waco and Ruby Ridge there. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me because he was ATF at the time, so he's going to stand by everything that they did. Let's see. First off, thanks everybody for hopping on here in the middle of the day. I'm going to try to see. I don't even know. What time is it? It's almost 1 o'clock. Yeah, they came on very late. It was supposed to start at quarter of. They didn't start till about 10:15 past noon here on the Eastern Seaboard. So let's address this one. Freedom. I didn't know, Jared, that you're in LE. Yeah, I've started law enforcement in 1997. I worked in one of the most violent cities in the country, and I've been retiring, active duty retirement, like in a small town up here back home. But my injury that I had surgery on has proven that it is permanent. My nerve damage is permanent, and I can't do certain things anymore. And it's time for me to make good with that and realize that the things that matter to me are being able to be a dad and to be alive, and to be able to still walk and to be able to make a living for my family. So I got to do what's best for me. The doctors were talking about another surgery that put me at a far greater risk in caging the spine, and I'm not interested. And they also wanted to implant a spinal stimulator device. I'm just not interested. I know a lot of people wrote to me that they have them and they're beneficial to them. I'm not interested in putting something into my spine to shock me, because the way I worded it to my doctor is, it's not going to fix me. If it's only going to possibly address pain, and it's not going to fix me, why am I doing it? So that's that. That's the update for everybody. I've been kind of keeping it personal for a while because there's a lot of moving parts behind the scenes. Don't trust people you think you can trust all the time. So take that for what it's worth. And yeah, so that's where that stands, because I know a lot of people ask me. But yeah, I've been injured. I got injured in 2018. I've been out over, it's been a year. It was a year in January. And looks like it's done. It is done. So, for those asking. But it's a shame, because the places I worked is probably losing the most constitutional cop ever to fucking lace them up. But all right, let's see. I'm sorry if there were people who did super chats. I see a couple here. Jesse said, for all you do, wading through the cesspool of politics for us and rendering it down to something is understandable. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate you, man. Lou the Glass Guy said, we the people can, by the Constitution, abolish this tyrannical government. I agree. Martin Castro, thank you. Said in the video you did the other day that says gun control doesn't work due to the simple fact that Spain had a shootout this month. Oh, thank you for. See, I love reading the comments sometimes because it brings up things that I want to say, and they're all in here, and sometimes I forget to pull them out. Bobo said that, like, I didn't write it down, but he said that, like, the world, with America's the laughing stock of the world because of this epidemic of gun violence, and that the world was watching, right? And then he said about suicides. They were talking about red flag and taking away guns vastly reduce suicides when a gun is no longer an option. And obviously he knows nothing what he talks about, because again, on my job, I saw it happen by any means necessary. People will get it done if they're hell-bent, unfortunately. But then I said, what about Japan? Japanese people can't own guns, and it's the highest suicide rate in the world. So that alone just kills Bobo Biden and his tyrannical double talk. But thank you for bringing that up, because man, you guys are more valuable to the channel than you realize. John Smith, thank you. I appreciate it. Virginia Woolf, there is no epidemic. 100%, my friend. 100%. It's just what they're trying to do is pull on those heartstrings, because the more people who are emotionally involved, and the easier it is for them to get it through. I mean, look at the last year and a half, the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? We've got everybody's emotions involved, and government pushed in a lot of areas where they had to be fought back with lawsuits or other ways. Craig, thank you, man. Thank you so much. and blue kayak diver. That's cool. That's a cool picture. Thank you so much. Moving to Tennessee yet, Jeff Taylor. It's funny. I was just talking to our favorite Appalachian today about that. I have to take care of the process that I'm going through here, and then after that, freedom awaits, my friend. Trust me. I'm not sure where though. It's still a scouting process. Good luck to you from 1-2. Appreciate the time you spend on your research and info. Thanks, man. Thank you. It's definitely I love doing this. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't because it drives you nuts. And here's a good one. We'll end on this one. I'm going to say Bobo. Bobo is a laughingstock puppet across the globe, and that's 100%. I mean, the guy, he just needs to be drinking inshore and sitting down with his fluffy slippers on and having his living room at 105 degrees, just watching some reruns. All right, guys and gals, thank you for your time. We're 21 minutes into this now for a quick update, but that is what happened today from the White House. And now you know what happened. Once this uploads, I'll put that link to Chipman's resume in the description. So if you want to read it, pass it along, give it out to friends, study it. If you need it for conversation pieces or whatever, it'll be down there. And please hit the thumbs up. Please, guys, hit the thumbs up. Please share it. That's the only way the videos get out. The last couple days I've been running that experiment, and it's obvious that the channel's being shadow banned and then shadow banned again. Numbers are down 80% when I do a normal video. So if you could help in that endeavor, it would mean a ton. And for those who always say something, this is not fear-mongering. This is simply getting the truth and the facts to the people who it impacts the most. And if you think this is fear-mongering, find another place to get your information. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. I love each and every one of you. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.